be here. And Julia, hi to all from a grateful Julia and Thornton Heath. Lovely evening here. Maria Jose, good evening. Vijamala, ready to embody everything from Spain. And Jeannie, hello from Portland, Oregon. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to close the chat box down now so I can focus on leading the meditation. Good. So once again, thank you all very much for making this time to care for your mind and your heart and your body, and just to have this period space to breathe. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing. This has been going on since last March. So that's nearly, I don't know, 18 months, 15 months, something like that. And it's become part of the rhythm of the week for many of us. Just a chance to come together in community and do a simple meditation. Tonight, I thought what I'd do is introduce a very traditional practice called the mindfulness of breathing. So it's very much what we already do, but it's got a particular structure. And it's very good for sort of training and disciplining the mind. So it's got 4 stages, and I'll ring a bell like this. Can you hear that? Yeah, good. I'll ring a bell to mark the transition to the stages. And I'll explain the practice now, but then I'll also lead it so you don't actually need to retain anything that I'm saying now, but it's nice to know the lie of the land. So in the first stage, what we'll do is we'll settle into the body, do a little bit of a body scan. And then what we do is we count after each breath until we've counted 10 breaths, and then we start over from 1 again. So you breathe in, breathe out, and you say 1 silently to yourself. 1. Breathe in, breathe out. 2. Breathe in, breathe out. 3. And when you get to 10, breathe in, breathe out. 10. Breathe in, breathe out. 1. So you just start over from 1 again. Now, of course, what will happen is that you will lose track of the counting. Your mind will wander off and you'll come to and you'll think, oh gosh, I've completely forgotten what number I was on, and you just start back at 1 again. So that's the training. You notice when you've got lost and you come back to 1 again. But in my own experience, sometimes counting breaths can be quite useful because it's giving the mind a little job. So the mind that wants to be occupied with distractions or worrying or whatever it might be, you're giving it a little job, which is simply to attend to the breaths and to count. The second stage is exactly the same, but now what we do is we drop in the count before each breath. So 1, breathe in, breathe out. 2, breathe in, breathe out, and so on. So it's very, very similar, just a slightly different emphasis. The third stage, we let go of the counting and we're aware of the breath and the whole body. So it's this kind of broad, open awareness of breathing in the whole body. And in the fourth stage, we refine our awareness. So it's developing more sensitivity. And you can pay attention or rest your awareness where the breath first enters the body and last exits the body. So it's this exquisite point where air becomes breath, and then where breath becomes air again. So it might be around the tip of the nose, might be around the upper lip, might be the back of the throat. And if that feels too heady, because sometimes it can feel too heady for people, you could simply rest in the rise and fall of the belly. But the idea is we're refining our awareness to a smaller area of sensitivity. Okay, so it's a nice, simple practice. It can be quite soothing, but it's definitely got this mind training element of building a little bit more focus. Not a narrow, tight focus, but the mind sort of gathering itself around breathing and around counting. The breathing is our primary interest and the counting is an aid. So it's not the mindfulness of counting, it's the mindfulness of breathing, and the counting is there as a light aid to help us. An image can be that you're just dropping a pebble in a pond at the end of the breath. So breathe in, breathe out, and you just drop this pebble into that tiny space at the end of the out breath. Good. So let's get ourselves set up, ready for the practice. You can do it sitting, standing, lying down. It's completely up to you. The main thing is that you choose your position with intentionality. So you're really sort of thinking, how do I want to position my body for the next 25 minutes? So that you'll be as relaxed and alert as possible. Good. Slightly squeaky chair. Okay, so closing the eyes if that's comfortable. And beginning to arrive in the position that you've chosen. Feeling the contact between the body and the support that it's resting upon. And receiving that support. Allowing the body to rest down into that support, to yield onto the chair, the bed, the floor, the planet. So letting go, gripping onto the body and letting it rest. Let's allow our awareness to pour down inside the body, to feel the legs. So the legs become full of awareness. Maybe sensations are strong, maybe they're absent. But the sense of inhabiting the legs with awareness in whatever way works for you. And the buttocks resting on the chair or the bed, or if we're standing, a sense of the buttocks being soft. And allowing awareness to fill the torso. The front, the back, the sides, the inside, the surface. Torso expanding in all directions on the in-breath, subsiding in all directions on the out-breath. And the arms full of awareness. Imagining awareness pouring down inside the arms all the way to the tips of the fingers and the thumbs. And the neck and the head and the face full of awareness. Letting the eyes be soft, the cheeks soft, lips, tongue, jaw soft. And being aware of the whole body. The whole body being breathed. Opening phase on the in-breath, subsiding phase on the out-breath. Or sometimes I get a sense of a kind of expanding upwards and outwards on the in-breath, and then subsiding, resting back down again on the out-breath. But it's completely natural, not forcing or straining. And moving into the first stage of the mindfulness of breathing, we continue to rest our awareness inside breathing, inside the body. And we introduce counting. So at the end of each out breath, we very lightly drop in a count silently to ourselves. When we've counted 10 breaths, we start over from 1 again. Every time you get lost, you start over from 1 again. So taking stock, if we're completely lost, then allowing the bell to call us back without any judgment or recrimination. Just being pleased that we've become aware again. Checking in on the body if there's gripping or tension building. Maybe moving a little bit. Yielding, softening, resting. When we're ready, we can move on to the second stage, which is where we drop the counting in before each in-breath. 1, breathe in, breathe out. 2, breathe in, breathe out, and so on. When we've counted 10 breaths, we start over from 1 again. So again, using the bell to take stock. If you've wandered far away, gone to sleep, got lost in thinking, without any judgment or recrimination, using the bell as an opportunity to come back to center, to stabilize, to reset. Checking in on the body, resting, settling, arriving. And now we drop the counting and we rest our awareness inside breathing, inside the whole body. Resting inside the movements and sensations of breathing. If you've got pain or discomfort of any sort, physically, mentally, emotionally, allowing that to be soothed by the breathing. If breathing feels agitated in the chest, then maybe dropping down to breathing in the lower back or deep in the belly. Moving on to the fourth stage, which is where we refine our awareness and rest on the sensations where the air becomes breath on the way into the body and the breath becomes air on the way out of the body. It might be around the tip of the nose or the upper lip, maybe the back of the mouth. It's a very delicate awareness. We're not forcing concentration. I sometimes think an image would be of a bee on a flower gathering pollen. It's very focused and yet it's very light. So it's that kind of awareness. If it feels too heady, you could rest in a similar way on the rise and fall of the belly or the chest. Let's let go of any effort whatsoever now and sit here or lie here quietly absorbing the practice. Just reflecting on the effect of spending the last 20 minutes in this way, just allowing our awareness to settle around an object, the breathing, using counting as an aid. And just feeling into the effects of the practice. Bringing the practice to a close if you want to, or you could keep meditating, it's up to you. Moving the body if you would like to. Good. Thank you all very much for spending this time. I always really love meditating with you. Just spending that time settling quietly, allowing my mind to settle in the company of friends in this way. And yeah, if anybody wants to write anything in the chat box about the effect of the practice, what you noticed, that would be quite interesting, perhaps. And I'll read it out. So in case there's anybody here who has any difficulty reading the chat box. It can be restful sometimes just to listen rather than having to keep on peering at the screen. So Maria Jose, I find in meditation it's a treat I give myself. It's nice. Gerda, thank you, Vijamala, for this lovely practice. I enjoyed and felt alive. Aline, just what I needed after a very busy day. Thank you. I feel much calmer. Marion, thank you. Feeling peaceful. Bridget, thank you, Vijamala. I'm on day 5 of having COVID. Oh no. So odd to concentrate on the breath, but found it reassuring to switch from fighting and fixing to soothing and healing. Thank you. Wow, that's really deep, Bridget. Amazing. And I'm really sorry to hear you've got COVID. I hope you feel better soon. But yeah, moving from fighting and fixing to soothing and healing. And thank you. Most welcome after my 5-hour drive. I feel very peaceful now. Julia, thank you, Vijamala. It really helped me center myself. I feel much calmer. Thank you for this. Jeannie, it is so comforting to have you and this community to see and be with every week. Thank you for doing this for and with us. That's an absolute pleasure, Jeannie. And then you're in the States. Lorian, thanks so much, Vijamala and Sangha. It was so soothing to be with you all today. Lorian's in the States as well. Catherine, thank you. That took me to a cool cavern in myself, above breathing, that I have not ventured into in my meditations before. Wow, a cool cavern. That's beautiful. Hilly, love the sense of exchange of breath and air, air and breath. Thank you. Janice, thank you. Sarah, noticed some tension in the face at first, and I was straining to get it right. Managed to relax into this and feel very still. Thank you. That's brilliant, Sarah, to notice that tension and straining and to soften. Kathy, high levels of pain today. Managed to sit, feel calmer, more grounded. Thank you for this precious weekly gift. Thanks to everyone for being here. Donna Marie, wonderful practice. Very helpful to let go. Very helpful to let go completely. Brilliant. I'm saying brilliant, not her. Maybe she thinks it's brilliant as well. Kindness to all. Thank you. Very healing. Viola, thank you. Bon and Jeff, thanks. Paula, thank you so much. Came feeling under the weather with a migraine and with the effects of the meds. Feeling more alive and with less pain. Thank you. Very healing. That's brilliant. Gillian, thank you. I feel very grounded and calm, a bit like a beautiful, calm ocean flowing and ebbing. Beautiful. Julia, I needed that. Thank you. I wonder how to be aware. I wonder how to be aware but not thinking. Difficult not to strive. I felt I was rising and falling with the breath as though bobbing on the sea. It's interesting, aware but not thinking. I think in reality we do think, minds think in meditation, but what we're doing in this practice is we're just trying to shift our interest away from the thinking mind to the direct experience of breathing. We're not trying not to think, because that can lead to thinking just bouncing back and shouting louder, but it's more like thinking is there, and then we're choosing to engage our interest with the feelings and sensations of breathing. I'm not correcting what you're saying, Julia, because it sounds great what you're saying. I'm just using what you've said as a springboard from these reflections. Tracy, a wonderful practice, very soothing and calming, very much needed. Thank you. And Fonny, thank you. It was just what I needed. Good. Maybe I should do this practice again another time. This 4-stage mindfulness of breathing. It's very helpful. And if your mind is very active and you're trying to meditate, then using counting can be really helpful. And as I said, I think of it as giving the mind a little job to do, which is to count. And sometimes that's a little bit easier than just being with the breath directly, but to use the counting as a kind of way into the 3rd stage where we're just resting with breathing. Okay, good. Good. And someone's asked about whether last night's session was recorded, and it was. So last night I did a Q&A about my long solitary retreat, and that was recorded, and it's going to be available at some point on the Community of Practice. Okay, so if you want to unmute and say goodbye to each other, then please do so, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Lots of love, everyone.
Bye.
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 Have a nice evening.
Bye. Bye.
See you next week.
Good.
Pressing the wrong button. Hey.